saying about the rupture repair, I talk about it with my kids all the time because our friend Henry Amar, he says it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you're going to have conflict or rupture if you do life long enough and close enough with any human. Because we're going to have misunderstandings, we're going to come from our wounds, we're going to literally just have a bad day, like a low energy, low vibe. You're going to be grumpy and tired or struggling, hangry, whatever it may be. But your worst self is going to spill out onto somebody, because we just are not perfect creatures. And unfortunately, even sometimes, I think the most heartbreaking for me is sometimes when it's well-intended, like you just are coming from a different way of being or a vantage point, or we're just doing our best. Everybody's, I believe, coming by their stuff honestly, and they're doing their best.
I agree.
And they project what they think another person would feel or think, and then they might be off. So suddenly they step on a third tail, and everything's going sideways. But the idea of that aftermath, I actually find that like the gooeyest, best part of relationship is the repair, because it actually indicates the most safety.
Totally.
Because if there's never anything that actually disrupts, how do you know if love is unconditional, if conditions haven't arisen? So our friend Phil says, quoting all our buddies. but Freddie, speaking of buddies, so Freddie is one of the best people I've ever met at repair. Like, he is amazing at coming in and just, saying like, hey, I'm not going to erase myself or deny like what my experience was, but we're going to work this through and contend and mud wrestle until we both are mutually understood. And it's been such a gift in my life. There's so much nobility in it. But Freddie, I remember when you first met Sarah. Did you guys first meet at the Harbor Film Forum? Was that
we met at the coffee shop.
That's right.
That's right.
Yes,
Here in LA together.
That was a delicious moment.
And he was just like, oh, I love her.
Yeah.
And I knew it's always fun for me when I share my friends, because I'm just like, it's like a fireworks explosion of goodness. So
you're just great energy. Like, where'd you get that from?
I think I got it from it. I've been in therapy since I was 8 years old, because I have a therapist for a mom who would just have us go in there and learn how to describe our interior world and to, and I was put in a lot of...
Sorry, can you stop?
Yeah.
You were in therapy at 8, and was she working with somebody else? Or
So
you
my
had a
mom,
therapist
my mom's a
and
child. My mom just retired last year. I say my mom was, and everyone's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, she's still with us, but she retired. She was a child and family therapist for most of my life. And as a result, I really normalized moments of rupture and repair. I normalized, I was given the tools and worked on those tools and got to develop those tools really early on. And as a result, I had way less fear in entering into spaces that were dissimilar to mine, or were going to come with elements of maybe contention or pushback, or exactly those misunderstandings you talked about. I also saw my parents model. My dad's from South Africa, sort of an interesting cat from all over the world. And my mom's from Connecticut. And she's, of course, this like brilliant, rich, vibrant, multidimensional human. But comparatively, there's a culture clash in the house, right? And so I saw that modeled and being able to weave it. I would also say that I grew up Reform Jewish, so very humanistic Jewish, but also we call Junitarian, and that's Unitarian Universalist. If you know about that, so it's like you get very comfortable as a young age. You are exposed to every major religion. You spend time in ashrams, in mosques, in synagogues, studying Taoism, atheism as a legitimate philosophy. You study all the different sectors of Christianity. And at the end, you pull back and you kind of life of pi, your own, But when you have proximity to so many different communities, you just see a through line. So I come into the world with this real confidence in our connection. And also, I think being a theater kid, honestly, like I'm like always saying to my parents, it paid off. Being a theater kid is the most used skill I have in my life.
For sure.
Because you assume a rich interior world of another person.
Yes.
Like you said, you assume there's a whole culture and value that you can respect, that there's ritual. And you also know that like we may be saying the same thing, but your lines are different than mine and we have different semantics, but we are essentially wanting and aspiring for the same thing in this life. And that served me in everything I've done in storytelling. Because my job is usually to go out into the middle of the country and in spaces where we've maybe never met one of each other in the world offline, right? And in the world. And then you get to really like go deep into people's worlds and realize how rich and nuanced and like how way more on the spectrum everyone is. Like none of us are these like reductive archetypical binaries that were presented.
No.
And that's a big driver for Common Ground. It's just introducing us. We don't have any real bridges to each other authentically for us to even navigate, right? If we're seeing about each other is this really archetypical stereotype reduced version, that's all we're going to know. Right? So I don't even blame that, but that causes a lot more contention because we believe it's so easy to dehumanize each other in that space, right? Because you don't feel each other's complexity.
Yeah.
Long-winded way of saying, I think that's why I'm like this.
Yeah. Could you repeat that?